A soft tap on my shoulder pulled me from sleep. I blinked, the late afternoon light peeking through the single window of our little treetop inn cottage, making the wooden walls glow a warm gold. "Louisa, sweetie, wake up," Amby whispered, her voice soft and warm, like Mom's when she used to wake me up for school. Her white fur glowed in the light, her round eyes full of care as she stood by my bed, her bandaged paw resting gently on my arm. "Ravelin's here. Shh, she's got some important news, okay?" She stammered, a hesitant smile tugging at her mouth. I gave her a sleepy nod, then realized what she'd said. News?" I mumbled, sitting up fast, the blanket sliding off my legs. My heart jolted awake before the rest of me did. The room creaked softly like the tree was humming a lullaby, sturdy and safe even though we were high up off the ground, cradled in thick branches and thick Erovian-made beams. A cool breeze drifted through the window, carrying the cozy smell of pine and cinnamon. The cottage felt just right, not cramped, but snug, with 2 small beds tucked under quilted blankets, a tiny bathroom like Amby's in Floria, and a wooden table where her apron lay folded beside her foraging pouch, bulging with stuff. The rest of her things, crates, jars, sacks of ingredients, were all locked away with everyone else's in a storage area beside the inn. Amby's smile was kind, but her whiskers twitched, and I followed her gaze to the door. Ravelin stood there, the younger counselor owl I'd seen earlier, with gray feathers and sharp golden eyes. She looked calm, but also kind of serious. "Louisa," Ravelin said, her voice steady like she was picking each word carefully. "The rest of the Florians and Marshings from your caravan. They've been rescued. They're in Arovia now, and there's another human with them. A girl. I'm told she is your sister, Ivory." My breath caught. Hope shot through me so fast it almost hurt. "Ivory?" I asked, my voice uncontrollably wobbly. "Is it really her, my sister? She's actually here." I stood up from the bed. Amby's paw squeezed my arm. I glanced at her and felt my smile fade. There was something sad in her eyes. My chest tightened. Ravelin nodded and her feathers rustled a bit. "Yes, but Louisa, she's injured. Badly," she said as she looked down at the floor. "She's at the hospital in the center of town, and she currently is unconscious. Stable, but she lost a great deal of blood from a wound on her chest, just below her left shoulder. The doctors say she's lucky it wasn't lower." The hope inside me twisted into something cold and heavy. My knees gave out, and I sat down on the bed hard, my hands shaking. "I gotta see her," I blurted, then looked to Ravelin by the doorway. Can I see her, please?" My throat felt tight. Mom's pale face in that hospital bed back home flashed in my mind, and my eyes blurred. "Of course," Amby said quickly, grabbing her pouch. Her bandaged paw fumbled a bit, but she moved fast. "We'll go right now." She also looked to Ravelin, who nodded and turned toward the door. We followed her out to the wide spiral staircase that wrapped around the inside of the inn's giant tree. The treetop inn bustled more than earlier. Rabbits and birds hurried up and down the steps, chattering about the rescue, the sun painting golden shadows along the bark. I'd hear pieces of talk about the nocturnes, the kids, and the soldiers as animals slipped past us, each one tightening the knot in my chest. We crossed the village, retracing part of the path we'd taken that morning, down broad walkways lined with roots and houses, and then onto the main road toward the forest's edge against the mountain base. About halfway down to the right, a massive tree trunk rose even higher than the others, a building carved right into its middle. No words on the outside, just a carved plus sign glowing a faint brownish green in the bark. The hospital. A bit to my surprise, a pair of large glass double doors automatically opened as we approached the front. Inside, the air smelled like herbs and fresh wood, not sharp and chemical like St. Joseph's back home. The entrance opened into a round room with a long strip of maroon carpet splitting the space. Lanterns hung along the walls, and light poured through the glass, making everything feel bright and warm. To the right, rows of chairs and benches, light-colored wood seemingly grown from the floor itself, curved with a wall. A few animals sat there, some sleeping, some staring tiredly at nothing. One older beaver glanced at me, looked away, then jerked his head back with wide eyes like he'd just seen a ghost. He probably hadn't seen a human before. I shoved my hands into my pockets and tried to act normal, but my eyes still wandered around the rest of the room. At the far side, the maroon carpet led to a wide wooden staircase curving up toward the second floor. Just left of it, a large, dark brown elevator stood flush with the tree's inner wall, its doors carved with faint leaf patterns. I wondered where Ivory was, which floor, what she looked like, how scared she must have been. My heart had been racing since Ravelin said her name. Now it climbed into my throat. Did these doctors even know how to treat humans? Mom's doctors needed machines and wires and bright screens. Here, it was mostly wood and lanterns. A loud throat clearing snapped me out of it. "Ah, Counselor Ravelin, how may I help you?" came a frail voice behind us. I turned to see a gray and white owl behind a wide wooden desk, thin gold-rimmed glasses perched on her beak, a gold chain looping around her neck. Her eyes drooped a little, but they sharpened as she peered at us over the desk. "Hello, Ms. Debbie," Ravelin replied. "We're here to see a patient." She tipped her head slightly in our direction. The old owl's gaze slid past Amby and landed on me. Her droopy eyes widened, and she let out a soft, surprised "ah." Then her silver beak curled into a gentle smile. "Third floor, my dear," she said to me. "Thank you, Ms. Debbie," Ravelin replied as she dipped her head. She turned to me, her golden eyes warm but urgent. "Come on, Louisa, let's go see her." We crossed the room. My boots thudded softly on the carpet, but my pulse was so loud it drowned out the quiet chatter around us. The dark wooden elevator doors loomed ahead. Amby pressed a small glowing button and the door slid open with a soft creak, revealing a round space lit by a single hanging lantern. We stepped inside. The floor was smooth, warm wood. The walls were carved with tiny vine patterns, like the ones winding up the trees outside. Amby's paw patted my back. Ravelin folded her wings tight at her sides to fit beside us. The doors closed, and the elevator hummed, a low, soothing sound, like the tree itself was breathing as it lifted us. "Amby, Ravelin," I said quietly, my fingers twisting together. Can they really help Ivory? She's human. Do the doctors here even know how to treat people like us?" I pictured Mom's hospital again, the beeps, the wires. Most of that technology didn't seem to exist here. But they have an elevator? Maybe they can help humans. "Oh, sweetie, they'll do everything they can," Amby said, her voice bringing my mind back down to earth, well, not to veer, her soft words wrapping around me like a blanket. "The doctors here are real good. They'll take care of her, I promise," she said with a confident smile. Ravelin's feathers twitched. She glanced aside for just a heartbeat, like she was weighing what to say. "The doctors won't have any trouble," she said slowly. "We've seen wounds like this before, and our healers have treated unusual cases." Her voice stayed calm, but something about it sounded careful, heavy. "Cases like what?" I asked, a little sharper. The elevator dinged, and the doors slid open before she could answer. We stepped out into a wide hallway lined with vine-woven lanterns and wooden beds. The air was thicker here, warm and scented with herbs. Some beds had curtains drawn. Others were open, showing bandaged wings or paws resting on leafy slings. At the far end of the room, on a larger bed, I saw something that didn't fit. A human. My heart stopped. I ran. It was her. Ivory. I skidded to a stop at the foot of her bed, tears already spilling from my eyes. Ivory lay still. Her face was pale as snow, her dark brown hair spread across a pillow. A thick, leafy bandage covered her left shoulder and part of her chest. The bandage was stained a dark, rusty color. Blood. The fabric of her shirt was cut away so the bandage could wrap tight. I followed the line of the bandage with my eyes and realized just how close it was to her heart. Maybe an inch, maybe 2. A rabbit in a small white coat stood by her side, golden brown fur warm in the lantern light. She adjusted the bandage with careful pause, her gaze glued to the wound and her brow was furrowed. She hadn't even glanced at me yet. She was too focused. Is she the doctor? Ivory! I whispered loudly, moving to her other side, grabbing her hand. It was cold and limp. A shiver shot through me. Mom's hand had felt like that in the hospital. Ivory, hey, wake up, I choked, my voice cracking. Amby's paw touched my shoulder. Is she going to be okay, doctor? Amby asked, voice unsteady. The rabbit's ears twitched. She took a slow breath and finally looked up, her eyes soft, but they seemed weighed down. She's stable for now, the doctor said quietly. But the blood loss was severe. Our medicines and salves, they help with most wounds, but human bodies are different. For a wound this deep, what we have just isn't strong enough. My fingers tightened around Ivory's hand. The room felt like it was tilting. We've put her into a controlled, sedated state, the doctor continued. It slows everything down, keeps her sleeping, her body calm, buys us some time. She paused, studying Ivory's bandage, then looked back at me. We needed supplies from your caravan. Foraged, medicines, and medical ingredients. Much of it. Didn't make it back from that knock-torn camp. I frowned, confusion cutting through the panic. The medicine, I echoed. Ravelyn shifted to the foot of the bed, her eyes lowered. Her feathers seemed stiffer than before. The doctor nodded. You all brought herbs and mixtures we rely on here. Without them, our options are limited. She said, sadness flickered in her eyes. Without stronger medicine, her body may not keep up with what it's lost. She finished and looked back at Ivory with real concern. The words hit like a punch. I looked at Ivory and watched as her chest would rise and fall, slow, stubborn. My tears blurred her face. Is she going to... I couldn't say it. My throat closed. I swallowed hard, trying again. What do we do now? Can't we go back and get the medicine from the meadows? From the nocturnes? Drock's dark eyes flashed in my mind, his voice booming as he ordered kids and parents be ripped away like it was nothing. A shiver ran down my arms. Would he do something like that again? To get to Ivory? Or to me? It's far too dangerous, Ravelyn said, her voice firmer now. Her soldiers reported more nocturnes than they expected. A large raiding force, and the void wall could be on its way closer to the meadows by now. We can't risk sending another party back. She hesitated. Not with so many already displaced, and the void's movement far too unpredictable and aggressive. The hum of the void wall crawled into my thoughts, that eerie, low sound that keeps playing in my mind, starting with the hospital portal back home. I'd felt the glue mine's cold grip on my arms, dragging me toward that darkness. I'd only seen the top of the void wall a few times here, peeking over the great forest trees, in the distance. But that had been enough to twist my stomach and to avoid it. The doctor seemed to sense my fear. "The best thing you can do," she said gently, "is stay with her. Rest. Let our foragers bring in what they can over the next few days. We'll adjust her salves and try every mixture, every solution we have. We won't give up." Her small smile was kind, but her eyes gave off a different feeling, like there wasn't much hope. She turned and gave Ravelin a look. "Walk with me?" she murmured. They stepped away together, voices dropping low as they headed for the stairs. Just before they rounded the corner, I heard the doctor whisper, "Does the elder know about the girl's condition?" And Ravelin nodded, but the rest of their words slipped away with them down the steps. I sank into the wooden chair beside Ivory's bed. My shoulders felt like they weighed 100 pounds. Amby hopped onto the chair next to mine, her white fur brushing my side. She only came up to about my torso when we stood, but here, sitting shoulder to shoulder, she felt like a solid little wall of warmth. She gently tugged me toward her, her bandaged paw stroking my hair. Slow, careful, exactly the way Mom used to when I had nightmares. I leaned into her, resting my head against her shoulder. The room was quiet now, just the faint rustle of curtains and the soft breathing or snoring of other patients. Under Ivory's bed, neatly placed on the smooth wooden floor, sat her shoes, a folded pile of her dirty clothes and a black backpack, just like mine, its straps broken and worn. My throat clenched. It hurts my head to think of the last couple of days, how we got here to this very moment. I glanced around. No beeping machines, no hospital monitors, just wooden beds draped in vines, some with curtains drawn, others holding resting animals with leaf bandages or woven slings. Lantern light made the smooth, dark walls glow. It should have felt cozy, safe even. But it didn't. I shifted and lay sideways across Amby's lap, curling my legs on the chair, my head resting on her soft fur. Her paws kept stroking my hair, steady and rhythmic. "Amby," I whispered, my voice scratchy, "do you think Ivory's gonna be okay?" Her whiskers trembled. Her eyes were sad, but warm. "Oh, I wish I knew," she said softly. "Like the doctor said, you and your sister, humans, your bodies work differently, but they're trying so hard to do what they can." She nodded toward Ivory's bandage. "That wrap is special. It has herbs laced into it that keep her deeply asleep, so her body has the best chance to heal. She'll wake up when she's stronger. It might take time. And we'll need more medicine, like the doctor said." I nodded, my cheek pressed against her, my mind racing. This world was so strange, terrifying one moment, breathtaking the next. I thought about everything since the cloudy portal that St. Joseph spat me out here. The cold fear of being alone, the relief of meeting Amby, her saving me from that creek in the great forest, patching my leg up like it was nothing. She wasn't just a friend. She felt like some kind of aunt who decided I was hers. I remembered the sharp sting on my leg, then the cool touch of that bluish ointment stuff she put on it. It felt like magic when that gash on my leg healed so fast. Starlum Nectar. My eyes flew open. I jerked upright so fast I nearly bumped Amby's chin. "Wait, Amby!" I burst out. "What about that stuff you used on my leg in the forest? That magic stuff that healed it right away?" Amby blinked, taken aback. "Magic stuff? You mean Starlum Nectar?" she asked quietly. I nodded fast and hard. "Yeah, that. It healed my cut in like seconds. If we got more, it could save Ivory, right?" Amby's paw rested on my arm. Her eyes softened, though worry crept in. "Louisa, Starlum Nectar is really rare. The Starlum flowers it comes from don't grow everywhere. The little jar I had in Floria took me months to make. Some petals I saved up money to buy, and the rest I had to forage myself whenever I was lucky enough to find them. But it works so fast, I insisted, leaning forward. If we got more, and you made more nectar, it could fix this, right? It has to. Amby's whiskers drooped. I mean, if we had enough, yes, she admitted. Starlum nectar would close a wound like that with hardly a scar to show for it. She swallowed. But the great forest, where I foraged those flowers, is probably mostly taken by the void wall now. Unless the wall pulls back, it's not safe. And the other place where the flowers grow... She hesitated. My heart picked up pace. What? Where? The tundral hollow, she whispered. Just southeast of here, foggy, cold, and dangerous, even on a good day. She squeezed my arm. And now, with the nocturnes moving, they're keep there. Foragers stay away. No one goes near it anymore. Not if they want to come back. What if we just sneak in? I blurted, the words spilling before I could stop them. Just you and me. We'd be super quick, we'd get in, find the flowers, and leave. We could do it, Amby. For Ivory. Her eyes went wide at my idea. Louisa, honey, no, she said, her voice soft but firm. The tundral hollow isn't like the great forest. You can get turned around in the fog in seconds. The cold cuts through your fur, and that's before you even add nocturnes to the mix. She shook her head. Even for me, even before all this, I'd never go there alone. And now, it's worse. I shook my head, tears welling up again, and my breathing quickened. It's my fault, I choked. If I hadn't gotten stuck in that creek, if I'd found Ivory sooner, maybe she wouldn't be like this. Maybe she wouldn't have gotten hurt. My voice dropped to a raw whisper. It should have been me. The nocturnes should have taken me. Amby pulled me close, wrapping both paws around me as best she could. Oh, don't say that, sweetie. It's not your fault, she whispered, her voice thick. The nocturnes made their own choices. And the void wall did what it does, you know? You didn't cause any of this. I pressed my face into her fur, shoulders shaking. I can't lose her, Amby, I mumbled through sobs. I can't lose Ivory, too. Her paw stroked my hair again, gentle and slow. You're doing everything you can, she murmured. You're so brave, Louisa. Braver than you know. Her warmth and the steady rhythm of her paw eventually pulled me under. I didn't mean to fall asleep, but my eyelids grew heavy. I drifted off curled against her, my fingers still wrapped around Ivory's cold hand. What felt like hours later, a soft whisper tugged me awake. My head was no longer on Amby's lap. I was slumped in the chair and my neck felt all stiff. The vine curtains around Ivory's bed were drawn now, making a little hidden cocoon around us. My heart jumped and fully woke me up again. Had something happened? Amby's voice drifted through the curtain, low and shaky. There's nothing at all you can do? She asked, pleading. The doctor answered, her tone heavier than before. No, not with what we have here. The amount of blood she's already lost, plus the fact she's human, adds complexities we just aren't equipped for. There was a pause. If we had access to stronger medicines, Starlum perhaps. Starlum nectar would work, Amby whispered quickly. Louisa took to it so well when I used it on her leg in the great forest. The doctor sighed. Yes, with enough Starlum nectar, her healing would be guaranteed. But the amount needed for a wound this deep would be considerable, to say the least. Another pause. We don't keep stores of it here. It's too rare. We need foragers to go specifically for Starlum flowers. And right now, with the void wall threatening, refugees filling our beds, and the nocturnes persisting as a threat, we just can't spare a foraging team for such a dangerous and potentially fruitless journey. Ambi was quiet. When she spoke again, her voice was barely there. How long does she have? A longer pause. Then, gently, a few days, maybe. Perhaps a bit more if her body holds on, but without help from something potent like Starlum Nectar. She didn't finish. The words punched the air out of my lungs. A few days. Ivory, pale and still in a strange world, with no mom, no dad, just me. And I was sitting here doing nothing. My pulse roared in my ears. Starlum Nectar, Tundral Hollow, Nocturnes, Void. It all spun together and then snapped into one bright, sharp thought. If I get the flowers, she lives. If I do nothing, she doesn't. I slid off the chair as quietly as I could. The floor under my boots was smooth. The curtains whispered against my shoulder as I slipped around Ivory's bed, brushing her hand with my fingertips. I'll be back. I promise, I breathed. My voice shook, but the words felt solid. Outside the curtains, other patients murmured or snored softly. A fox rolled onto his side, his leaf bandage rustling around with each movement. 2 nurse hamsters padded past, their arms full of jars the size of their arms. No one looked at me twice. I hugged the wall, moving toward the stairs, heart thudding so hard I thought it might shake the lanterns. This is stupid, a tiny voice in my head whispered. You're just a kid. You'll get lost. You'll get grabbed. But another voice, louder, shouted back, if you wait for the grown-ups to decide, she'll run out of time. Down the staircase, past the second floor, past the first. My boots were muffled by the maroon strip of carpet, each step like a quiet drumbeat. By the time I reached the round lobby, my legs felt shaky, but my mind was suddenly sharp with one thought. I don't even know where the Tundral Hollow is. Southeast, I think. Wherever that is. I stopped dead in the middle of the room. The glass double doors glowed faintly with evening light. The plus symbol and the bark above them cast a soft greenish glow out into the main street in front. To my right, Ms. Debbie sat at her desk, her head bobbing, glasses halfway down her beak as she dozed. Only one other creature was in the room, a small white hamster curled up on a bench. A red scarf puddled on the floor. It was snoring and squeaking softly. I needed directions and supplies, and I needed them without anyone guessing what I was really planning. I headed for the desk. Ms. D. Debbie, I called, voice barely above a whisper. She didn't move. I cleared my throat and tried again, louder. Ms. Debbie. She jolted awake with a soft gasp, her glasses sliding down before she hurriedly nudged them back up with a wing. Yes, how can I help you, Todd? She cut herself off as her eyes focused on me. Oh, Louisa, isn't it? She said, her beak stretching into a creaky smile. What can I do for you, dear? My cheeks went hot. I hadn't thought this far ahead. I couldn't just say, hey, could you point me toward the super dangerous nocturne-infested wasteland so I can snag some magic flowers? My stomach growled. Loudly. That gave me an idea. I'm, not from here, I started, twisting a piece of hair around my finger. Obviously. I tried to smile. Is there a store nearby for food and stuff? Maybe someplace that sells maps so I can learn my way around? I don't want to keep asking Ambi for her food or money. She's already done so much. Ms. Debbie's eyes softened, her feathers fluffing. Oh, my dear, that's very thoughtful of you. She leaned forward slightly. There's a market just down the main road. She pointed a wing toward the doors. Head straight until you see a big dark oak with a rope bridge off to the right. You'll find stalls with berries, nuts, breads, and all sorts of supplies. Pouches, water gourds, that kind of thing. I nodded, heart beating faster. Do they have maps? I asked, keeping my tone as casual as I could. I just keep hearing everyone talk about different places: Floria, the meadows, the Great Forest, Erovia's caves. And I kind of want to see how it all fits together. Like, where everything is. The whole, Noctavir. I swallowed. I don't want to keep feeling lost. Her eyes narrowed a little. Not meanly, more like she was studying me. Curious girl, she murmured, then smiled. Then she reached beneath the desk and pulled out a small rolled piece of parchment tied with a thin vine. You're in luck. I have a simple map right here. Shows Aerovia, the surrounding meadows, the Great Forest, even places like the caves here, at the base of Mount Crystalia, and... Her voice dipped just slightly. The Tundral Hollow. The name made my skin prickle. I reached for the map, but her wing hesitated, holding it just out of my grasp. You're not planning to go wandering off, are you? She asked gently. It's dangerous out there, even for grown animals, especially for a young human girl. Oh, no, I said quickly, shaking my head. My voice wobbled with my lie, so I focused on the part that was true. I hate feeling helpless. Everyone keeps making decisions, and I don't understand what's where or how far things are, or what the void wall even looks like on a map. I glanced down at my boots. If I can at least see it, maybe I won't feel like such a burden. Her face seemed to soften at that word. Oh, sweetheart, she said, her voice warm and sad. You are no burden. Not to Ambi, not to anyone here. She looked at me for a long moment, then finally extended the map. Here, take it. And if you get turned around inside Arovia, you come right back here and ask me for help. Understood? Understood, I said, trying not to sound too breathless with relief. I took the map, feeling the parchment's rough edges under my fingers, and slipped it into my pocket. Thank you, Ms. Debbie. She nodded. Remember the markets down the main road by the big dark oak, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Arovia's a safe place, as long as you stay inside it. I will. I lied again, guilt poking at my ribs. I backed away from the desk, then turned and walked through the glass doors. The cool evening air hit my face, washing over my nervously heated cheeks. I didn't look back. The map in my pocket felt heavier than it should, like it knew the kind of decisions it was tied to. The sky over Arovia was streaked with orange and purple now, the sun starting to dip low, no longer pouring sparkly light freely into the village. Tree houses glowed with lantern lights. Bridges cast long shadows across the wide dirt paths, and my mind continued to race. Tundral Hollow, Starlum flowers, nocturnes, Ivory's pale face. The doctor's whisper. A few days. I had to move fast. If Ambi went back upstairs and saw the chair empty, she'd search the treetop inn first. That bought me a little time. Not much. I took a breath, shoved my hand into my pocket to grip the map, and turned sharply down the main road without watching where I was going. I slammed into something solid and rough, like a wall covered in cold, rough scales. The impact knocked me backward. I landed hard on my tailbone, pain shooting up my back. The rolled-up map jabbed at my hip. Above me, a deep, startled grumble rumbled, loud as distant thunder. I'm so sorry, I gasped, scrambling to sit up, heart hammering. My eyes darted upward to see what or who I'd run into. A towering shape loomed over me, just a huge shadowy outline against the treetops and sunset sky.